Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1974 to 1977). Welcome back, baseball fans. 1974-77 Carryover League. We are back in the American League today with a series between the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox, the American League Midwest. Teams who both went to the playoffs. Twins as a wild card. They led the division for a nice chunk of the year. White Sox caught them at the very end, and then White Sox continued to dominate all the way to an improbable world championship. So the Twins have their eyes on the prize. They have to be on their P's and Q's early in the year to beat the defending champs and maybe catch them with a hangover if possible. Does it happen? Well, let's take a look. Game 1. We open up in Minnesota for the series, best of 7. Bart Johnson for the White Sox, a hero of the postseason a year ago, versus Dave Goltz of the Twins. Both pitchers are the type of pitchers who dominate right-handed batters and struggle a little versus lefties. Coming out of the gates, the White Sox are blasting off. Hairston walks, Lamar Johnson singles, George Orta, 3-run homer, Allen singles, a double by Pete Varney, sac fly Spencer. It's 4-0. But then the Twins, Carew doubles, Heisel RBI single, Phil Roof 2-run homer. It's 4-3. White Sox get an RBI single, Lamar Johnson, 5-3, but the Twins don't stop at all. A walk and then an error by Bucky Dent, which could have been a double play. Put 2 men on base instead, and that allows Carew to single, Heisel to single, steal a base. That's a 2-run single, a sac fly Bostock, and believe it or not, now the Twins have a 6-5 lead. Bart Johnson really struggling. In the 3rd inning, a single, a Smalley single, a 2-run triple Bobby Valentine. It's now 8-5 Twins. Johnson gets chased in the 4th. His line, 4 innings, 11 hits, 8 runs, 5 earned, a walk, and 3 Ks. It's 8-5. Middle of the game, the Twins keep it going with sending 8 men to the plate in the 6th inning, 7 men to the plate in the 7th inning. White Sox tack on a run. It is a early April hitter's day at the park against the bullpens here. And when all is said and done, the Vikings beat the Bears 14-6 on a Tommy Kramer touchdown to Ahmad Rashad or something like that. Anyway, Twins win, and boy, N.A. Donnybrook as they're called. But can they keep it up? That's just one win. And you kind of think the Twins got the frustration out of their system from a year ago. But this is a different White Sox team. They don't seem to sweat too many tough losses anymore after their dominant performance down the stretch a year ago. Jim Cott in Game 2 versus Andy Hassler, my friend Andy. Both pitchers outstanding in this. Scoreless game. Into the 4th. Cott gives up a couple singles, a pop out, a single to load the bases, and then a sac fly by Butch Winnegar makes it a 1-0 game. Through 6 innings, Hassler faces the minimum number of batters with a single and double play in there. But in the 7th, you get a walk, a fielder's choice, a fly out, and then with 2 outs, who else? Dick Allen rolls 3-6. I'm so used to rolling the 1 column for homers. Now he's got the homer on 3-6. 2-run bomb. A terrible, unfortunate mistake for Andy Harsler, who had pitched a masterpiece until then. It's 2-1. And as soon as that happened, you know cot will be leaned on, but also the bullpen will be leaned on. And the Twins do not reach again in the game until an error by Gossage in the ninth, inconsequential. It's a 3-1 final. White Sox got an insurance run in the ninth off of Bill Campbell. So Jim Cotton Company, even the series, a game in peace. 8 innings, 6 hits, a run allowed, a walk, and 3 Ks. Andy Hassler's day, 8 innings, just 2 hits. That single, the 2-run homer after a walk and 6 Ks. Campbell gave up a hit in the ninth. Tough way to get a series split. And the White Sox are like, yeah, we saw it coming. So it's 1-1 as we go to Chicago. All right, game number 3. Harry Rasmussen, a free agent, against Wilbur Wood, believe it or not, now the number 3 starter. And the Twins are making some mistakes out of the blocks. Ground ball to Eric Soderholm for an error. We have an error on the catcher, Butch Winnegar. Slow dribbler in front of home plate, he can't get a hand on it. You can't do that against this White Sox team. They'll make you pay. A single, Orta, sac fly Allen. You get a 2-run double, Pete Varney. Nice little 271 hitting catcher the White Sox had in 75 in his best year. 3-0. Wood surrenders a homer to Tony Oliva, who wears Wilbur Wood out. Wilbur Wood's going to have nightmares when Tony Oliva goes into the batter's box. It's a 3-1 game. In the fourth, Oliva singles, scores on a sac fly to make it 3-2. White Sox answer an Orta double, a Ken Henderson triple. That makes it 4-2. Sixth inning, Bostic singles, Oliva singles, reaches for the 3rd straight time. Scores on a ground ball C to the catcher, which is about the same as a wild pitch or pass ball. It's just the difference of being a earned run and an RBI or not. But that makes it 4-3. But again, the White Sox have a formula when it gets late. When you've got Gossage, you got Forster, you got a solid Laren LeGros who could match up, and you got a righty specialist in Acosta. The Twins get 3 straight walks off of Wood in the 7th inning. Then you get catcher's card on a 4-catcher Varney, but you get the foul out. Then you get a ground ball to Bucky Dent, who turns the double play this time. 3 straight walks, the Twins don't score. They allow Wood to face Darwin in the 8th, not Oliva. They bring in Terry Forster to face Oliva. And then in the 9th inning, Goose Gossage, 3 up and 3 down. And the White Sox win this one 4-3. Workmanlike form, a lot like they were a year ago. 2-1, White Sox have reclaimed home field, or continue home field, I should say. They reclaimed in Minnesota. Game number 4, it's Burpee home, Bly-Levin against Stan Bonson, who threw a shutout in his first series of the year. In this one, scoreless until the 4th inning when Phil Roof and George Orta hit homers for their teams to make it 1-1. But Bert Bly-Levin would be the first to stumble in the 6th inning. The Chi Sox, opportunistic team, a walk to Hairston, singles by Orta, Allen, 2-run single Henderson, RBI singles Jim Spencer and Bucky Dent. It's a 4-run inning, making it 5-1. Bonson surrenders a home run to Winnegar off of the Bonson card to make it 5-2. In the 8th inning, they let Bonson face the first hitter. It's a single, so they pull him. They bring in Forster. Forster does allow a triple and an RBI to make it 5-3. Bly-Levin gives up a 2-out, 3 straight singles to the Three Stooges, batting 7th, 8th, 9th. Jim Spencer, Bucky Dent, Aurelio Rodriguez. We call them that because they're the defensive guys, and whatever they can contribute offensively is fine. But 3 straight singles for the stud defense of the White Sox at the bottom of the lineup after 2 outs gives you an insurance run. Goose Gossage, he'll come on in the 9th again. As long as he's only throwing an inning and he's a relief 4, he can pitch every day. 3 up and 3 down. Now it's a 6-3 win for the White Sox, and they have a 3-1 series lead. Let's take a look at the standings, because this is kind of fascinating here. The kind of consistency that the White Sox are demonstrating for a team that generally hasn't had a lot of consistency in their history. They finished last year 20-5, so they're 26-7 with a slightly different cast this year, doing the same kind of solid, efficient, productive bullpen, defense, timely hitting. It's all there. And they're in really good shape, are the White Sox, with a 3-1 series lead today. It's a Game 5. Boy, do the Twins need this. The Twins need to win a game or 2 or 3, but they really could use a win here to at least get back to where they were a year ago in the wild card hunt or even in the division hunt. But they just can't fall too far behind a team in the White Sox and in a division that boasts a renewed Kansas City Royals, an invigorated Kansas City Royals team who expect to contend for the division title as well, and the Brewers are lurking. So the Twins do not want to stumble. Game 5 starters. The Twins will have Dave Goltz. You mentioned him being a righty-dominant pitcher. 75, he's a 14-game winner with a 3.67 ERA, 243 innings. And the White Sox, it'll be Jim Cott on 3 days rest. 21 wins, a 2.92 ERA, 277 innings. He started last year pretty mediocre, then he caught fire down the stretch. He continues. He didn't pitch good on opening day, but his last few starts have been very good. Twins, White Sox from Comiskey Park. Leading off, it's Rod Carew. 1-6, triple 1 to 16. He misses it and gets a double. Larry Heisel. 2 nines, a strikeout. And Lyman Bostock. 46, flies to right. That would have been a sac fly. Carew could not get to third base on that hit. Bobby Darwin, 67. That's a base hit to center, so Carew will run off of Henderson, and he scores. Tony Oliva, 3-9, pops a short. No problem with lefties whatsoever. Bats 5th against Wood and Cott. Bottom of the 1st. Leading off, it's Jerry Hairston. 68, flies to center. Lamar Johnson, 1-8, is a base hit. George Orta, 46, base hit center field. Runners at first and second for Dick Allen. 69, he pops out. And with 2 outs, it's Ken Henderson. 2-6 is a base hit to center field, but Lamar Johnson, oof. If he wasn't dragging that boat anchor around with him, he might have tried to score. But he's got to put that rope in the anchor on the third base bag and hope Pete Varney can drive him in here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Pete Varney. 1-3 is a hit by the pitch on 1-3. Let's take a look at his Pete Varney card. What a revelation this guy is. Both he and Alan Bannister just popped out of the woodwork and are productive players for the new look 2026 White Sox. He takes the Bob Stinson rollover fine. Plenty of power. We kind of like the strikeouts because it means he's not hitting into a double play. He's a .271 hitting catcher, and he platoons with Brian Downing, who's a -1 arm catcher. 1-3 is that hit by pitch, with the bases loaded, ties the game. And now you got to deal with Jim Spencer. 1-6, he strikes out. Top of the 2nd, it's Eric Soderholm. 3-10 is a fly ball to center. Bobby Valentine, 48, pops to short. Butch Winnegar, 110, single 111, cannot catch it on a 13. Bottom of 2, Bucky Dent, 410, pops the first. A-Rod, the original one, fly ball to right X. Darwin's a 3-E9 in right field. He surrenders a 2-base hit on his defense. That's a shame. Back up top to Jerry Hairston. 3-7's a walk. Why he's in the leadoff spot. 2 on for Lamar Johnson. 56 is a base hit in a center field. A-Rod. He's a 13. Bostic's got a -1 arm. Let's leave him be at third. We got Orta and Allen here. We want to go for a big inning with 1 out. Bases loaded, 1 out. And there's the pitch to George Orta. 58, second X. Oh boy, what do we have there? Oh, Valentine. He's a 4-37 second baseman. This should be trouble, and it's a ground ball C. Twins have a little rotation in their middle infield. They do have Maxwell playing short as a 2. Smalley doesn't hit lefties very well. He could be a 3 at second or short. And Maxwell could be a 2 at short or second. But they have Valentine's bat in there, as Valentine can't field, but he's got power versus a lefty cot. But his defense hurts him there. RBI ground out, second and third, 2-1 game. Batter is Dick Allen. 56 off a goal is another base hit in a center field. Hairston scores. You want to run Lamar Johnson? He's a 9. I thought he was an 8. He's actually a 9. A 9, 10, 11 against the Bostic arm. It's a coin toss. They'll take it. And he's thrown out on a 20. Well, yeah, that's going to happen. Everybody gets thrown out on 20s. But it's still a 3-1 game. Could have been a 4-1 game. We go to the third. Maxwell. 4-10, center X. Henderson, 2-6 in center, makes the catch. Boy, Twins, you got to deal with Jim Cott, who you once had. Jim Cott played a nice chunk of his career as a member of the Minnesota Twins. Was that one of the most critical errors letting him get to the White Sox last off season? Seemed like it wasn't that big a deal. But this Cott card has been electric. Larry Heisel won 9 singles. You want to take off down 2 with Bostic up? Let's do it. He's safe on a 6. The pitch to Bostock with a runner in scoring position. 56 is a strikeout. Jim Cott. You know, again, I got to go back to the beginning of last year. Jim Cott looked like a waste of time for the White Sox, getting him with Wood. He was getting knocked around, and it looked like the Twins had won that trade. But then something switched in the second half of the season into this season, and Cott's put it all together. Bottom of the third. It's Ken Henderson. 67 flies out. Pete Varney, 54. Homer 1 fly ball. It's a fly ball off the Colts card. He dominates righties, as I said earlier. Jim Spencer, 32, fouls out. If your pitcher's got Homer 1 fly ball on 4 or 10, get him. You don't care about the doubles, the singles, and walks. Just get the pitcher's got Homer 1 fly ball on the 4 or 10. And he will be a nice addition to your team most of the time. Bobby Darwin, 2-6, is hit by a pitch. Tony Oliva, 1-6. Homer, 1-6 double. Again, I tell you, he really crushes lefties. It's a double. Darwin will hold a third, down 2, and no one out. Second and third, trying to tie this game or more. It'll be Eric Soderholm. 3-8, single window 18, he delivers. And the Twins have it going here in the fourth. 3-2. Runners in the corners, nobody out. A bunting, Bobby Valentine. You have to bring the infield up for this guy. 2-12 pops the third. Now with 1 out, do you want to bring the infield up to protect the lead? Yeah, let's do that with Winiger. 4-11, left X. Out in left field, oh boy, yeah, it's Lamar Johnson to start the game. That's not a good look, obviously. But Lamar catches the ball. Check that out. It's a fly ball A. So everybody tags up. We got a tie game. We got a runner at second. But we have 2 outs. And number 9 hitter, Dale Maxwell. 1-7 strikes out. 3-3. Bottom of the fourth. It'll be Bucky Dent. 56 is another base hit off of the Gold's car. We've hit the 5-6 many times in this one. A-Rod. 1-5. That's a 6-4-3 double play. A-Rod, not particularly good at all versus righties, to the point we're thinking of bunting him in, like in the 6th inning. Here it's just the 4th inning. 2 outs now, and it's Jerry Hairston. 3-6. He delivers, double 1 at 12, base hit. Lamar Johnson, 59, a roller to second base. We have a 3-3 tie. To the 5th inning we go. It's Rod Carew. 55, short X. This is Dent. And he makes the play. Larry Heisel, 2-8, strikes out. And Lyman Bostock, 2-6 is a base hit. Beast Stealer. 0 arm. You want to steal with 2 outs? You're down 3-1 in the series. Let's make it happen, Bostock. He is going to get nipped by 1 there. He's a beast stealer, so he's out on a 14. All right. They tried to get a runner in scoring from 2 outs. It just didn't work out. Bottom of the 5th from Comiskey Park. We got an exciting 3-3 tie. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right. Leading off here is George Orta. 6'11", left X. Heisel's a 2-8 in left field. It's a single for Orta. Now you got Dick Allen. 45, pops to second. Ken Henderson. 3-10, flies to right. And with 2 outs, it's Pete Varney. 48, second X. Again, it's Valentine, a 40-37 second baseman. But he makes the play. Some dubious defenders have made some nice plays. Lamar Johnson in left field, Bobby Valentine at second base. We go to the 6th. Bobby Darwin. 3-10, left. Tony Oliva, 111, pops out. And Eric Soderholm. 1-9, double 1 at 4 is a 2-base hit. Runner in scoring position for Bobby Valentine. 2-7 is a liner to second base. 3-3, bottom of the 6th. It's Jim Spencer. 55, homer 1, double off of Gold, just a 2-base hit. Now you got a couple of A-bunters here. Dent and A-Rod. Somebody's bunting. Spencer's a decent runner. This is a narrow margin Chi Sox team. A runner 2 is all they need. Again, Golds dominates the righties. Dent's going to drop a bunt down, trying to get that runner to the 3rd with less than 2 outs. The bunt is good. This is what you can do with A-bunters, folks. You get a 9, and it's still good. So the lead runs at 3rd base. The infield has to come up for A-Rod. 2-9 is center B question mark. He's going to tag up. It's an 11, 12, 13. It's a 12 shot against Bostock. And he's thrown out on a 19. A tough break. Lyman Bostock throws a guy out at the plate. Who threw, I guess Bostock threw Lamar Johnson out of the plate in the 2nd inning. So 2 outfield assists in the game. That's not a 9. That's an 8-8-2 double play. Tough break for the White Sox there. They cannot get a run from the Three Stooges. Top of the 7th inning. 3-3. Nice game. Kotz starter 7. It's Butch Winnegar. 46, right. Maxville, 2-6 singles. Back up top to the dangerous Rod Carew. 5-11, you struck him out. And with 2 outs, it's Heisel. 66, double 1 at 10. It's a 2-base hit. And now you have runners in scoring position for Lyman Bostock. This is the guy you want for Cott. This is the point of weakness batter. Bostock not particularly good against lefties. Let's take a look at him. Here's Bostock. Now, he'll follow this 1976 up, where he hits .323 with 4 home runs, with an even more incredible 77, where he hits .338. Then he has a disagreement with Twins ownership and is shipped out to the California Angels in a questionable move. And then, of course, he has a tragic end to his life at the end of the decade in a sad, very sad story. But what a star Bostock was at the beginning of his young career. Second and third, big moment. Here's the pitch. 3-8 is a fly ball to right field, and Cott gets out of that one. Stretch time here in Chicago. We're enjoying the Baby Huey story. Baby Huey and the Babysitters, the living legend. Expanded edition. You guessed it, folks. You got Curtis Mayfield's band backing it up. You know, Freddie's Dead band of all things, doing instrumental versions on the Curtum label of all the tracks on the album. It's amazing that this stuff doesn't come out until decades later. And that's kind of how it happened there. The Superfly instrumentals. Running Hard Times, Mama Get Yourself Together, Turn On, Mighty Mighty. They even do the Age of Aquarius on this thing. Baby Huey and the Babysitters, instrumental pieces. Back to the game. Bottom of the seventh, tie game. The White Sox have done a great job managing their bullpen by limiting all the pitchers to an inning at the most, keeping their arms fresh in case this thing were to go extras. Cott, Goltz, this would be conventional extra innings, not the runner at second rule, as those guys are the top two pitchers on their teams. So we're gonna go leading off in the bottom of the seventh, Jerry Hairston. 64 is catcher's X, but Winnegar's a 3E16 for the young catcher. Makes the play. High E rating for a catcher. Lamar Johnson, 62, rolls back to the mound, and with 2 outs, George Orta. 2-6 is a base hit. And now you have Dick Allen with a man on and 2 outs. 63, come back over to the mound. Goltz is an E18 pitcher. Got to field your position. He cannot. Quick way of looking at that, he's an E18 pitcher, and E16 pitcher surrenders an error, which is even worse. 2 on, 2 outs, and now you have Ken Henderson. Let's take a look at him before he swings. Probably one of his best. Well, he had a really nice year, I think, in 70 for the Giants. But clearly the best year for the White Sox, 74. 20 homers, 35 doubles, and 5 triples. Stellar defense, great 5-toolsy guy. Little inconsistent throughout his career. But a big 74 season. Big moment here. Here's the pitch to Henderson. 3-9, grounds to the second base. We go to the 8th. 2 base runners would get caught out of the game. It's Bobby Darwin leading off. 2-7's a base hit, and this is the guy that the Twins like. Oliva versus a lefty. Here's the pitch to Tony Oliva. 2-4 flies to center. Now you got Soderholm. All you need is a base hit or a walk, and that would chase Cott at point of weakness. 2-8's a K, and with 2 outs, it's Bobby Valentine. 2-5's a grounder to short. Cott lasts through the 8th and will probably pitch into the 9th. As does Goltz. You got righty, lefty, righty, righty. This is the sweet spot for Goltz. He'll pitch through to the bottom of the lineup, then we'll figure out what the Twins want to do with Hairston and Orta at the top. But Goltz will face Pete Varney. Only righties on the Chi Sox bench. They only have 4 left-handed swingers on the team. Spencer, Henderson, Orta, and Hairston. They won the World Series with 4 lefties a year ago. Here's Pete Varney. 4-10, pops out. Jim Spencer. 48, you walked him. Bucky Dent with 1 out. He'll swing away. 3-5, let's take a look at the Bucky Dent card of 1975. We remarked a year ago, the White Sox then added 75 Bucky Dent and 75 Rich Gossage. They would play in a World Series for somebody. Who'd they play for again? It was, oh yeah, the New York Yankees. That's right. Well, guess what? They won a World Series for the Chicago White Sox, playing shortstop and closing out games. Bucky Dent, a .264 average, just 3 home runs and 640 at-bats. He's got his homer chances on either side of the card. Homer 1-6 double. It's a double. Spencer will hold at third. 11 runner. Now you got A-Rod. Do you squeeze here? Second and third, 1 out. You know, I'm more of a first and third squeeze guy with 1 out. Not a second and third squeeze guy. I want the 2 runs to score. So we're going to let A-Rod hit away. The infield is up. You can get a single if he shoots one through the infield. Here's the pitch to A-Rod. 3-9. Let's take a look at the A-Rod card. A-Rod, it's 240 in 1976. Most of that 240 comes on the left side, however. On the right side, he's pretty meh. So 3-9, single 1-17, but when we look up at the board, he cannot convert it. He cannot hit a 1-17 shot. It's a liner to short. And so both times, Aurelio Rodriguez had a chance to be a hero, and it didn't work. Goes back up top to Jerry Hairston. Do you let Goltz pitch to him? Do you let somebody else pitch to him? Do you go to a lefty? You got all righties on the White Sox bench if you want to make a pitching change. Or do you simply let Goltz deal with this guy? Goltz is a starter 8. Not a lot you can do. Intentional walk is not. And you got the 320 Lamar Johnson next. A walk's really not going to hurt you that much. They'll just create a pitching change. That's about it. So they'll pitch to Jerry Hairston. Here's the pitch. Another 3-9. 3-9 is a walk. That loads the bases. That is the point of weakness for Goltz. And now you got to deal with Lamar Johnson. And they got a secret weapon here. They're going to pull Goltz after 7 2/3. They're going to go to a lefty who's really going to getting righties out. And this is Rich Folkers. If you follow the Twins a year ago, their left-handed pitching was terrible. But in the offseason, they acquired Andy Hassler, who pitched a brilliant game in this series. They moved Garvin to the bullpen, who they had a year ago. And they traded for this guy, Rich Folkers. A brilliant 1974. His ERA is 3 in 90 innings, but he really dominates right-handed batters, and Lamar Johnson is better versus right-handed pitchers. This is the matchup the Twins won here in the 8th, with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Rich Folkers versus Lamar Johnson, and here is the pitch. 66 is a pop to short, and the inning is over. We go to the 9th. Jim Cott will continue. Neither team has gone to their bench yet. We've had 1 pitching change. Butch Winnegar leads off in the 9th. We're just going to have ordinary extra innings, too. 55 for Cott is short X. Your shortstop, again, Bucky Dent, makes the play. Dale Maxwell, 311, fly ball to right plus an injury. Interesting twist. So they lose their defensive shortstop, meaning that Valentine has to finish the game at second. And Roy Smalley will come into the game and play shortstop now. With 2 outs, we go back up top to Rod Carew. 3/8 a walk. Do you steal here with 2 outs? Yes, you do. And he's safe at second base. Now, Cott's got to deal with Larry Heisel, who also has a lot of walks on his card. Walks aren't going to kill you here. Not to mention, you pass over the point of weakness by only allowing a single base runner in the 8th, erasing the mistakes of the 2 base runners in the 7th. So this will probably be the last two batters for Jim Cott in this game. Heisel and potentially Bostock. Here's the pitch. 1-10. It's a base hit to left field. They didn't pitch around Heisel. Carew is going to run on a 17, and he scores. They had an option to pitch around him. They did not take that option. And Heisel comes through with a single. And it's 4-3 Twins. Now Heisel, he's going to steal with 2 outs with Bostock up. He's safe at second base. And so Cott will deal with Bostock with a runner at second. Here's the pitch to Bostock. 2-3, pops to third. It's 4-3 Twins. Bottom of the 9th. You have Orta, Allen, Henderson. I kind of like Orta batting versus the lefty here. If you go to the righty pinch hitter now, they're just going to go to Bill Campbell. And whatever righty you go to, yeah, they're going to live with this Orta, Allen, Henderson, Varney, and Spencer. Yeah, they're going to live with those guys versus the guys on the bench here. Twins, no more defense to bring in. They actually lost some defense. So in the bottom of the 9th, Rich Folkers will continue and face George Orta. Here's the pitch. 2-8, a ground to the third. Now you got to deal with Dick Allen. Normally, you chase the lefty. But Allen's actually pretty balanced. Pretty straight up, lefty and righty. And Folkers, we said, not only is he good against righties, but Folkers also doesn't surrender homers to them. Here's the pitch to Dick Allen. 53, right X. Out in right field, you have Darwin, a 3-9. It's a double off the Darwin defense, and Dick Allen is at second base. A 15 runner. Now you got Ken Henderson and Varney. They're leaning on Folkers here. Henderson's a little bit better versus righties and lefties, but he's still a steady 292 hitter. We saw his card earlier. Here's the pitch to Ken Henderson. 1-7, Ken Henderson. It's double one. Singled out down in the White Sox. Tie the game again to the disappointment of the Twins. My goodness, what do you have to do to beat the White Sox this year? It is a 4-4 tie with Henderson at first base. One more batter does not hit point of weakness. Folkers is a relief 3. B. Steeler. Winnegar's got a 0 arm. There's 1 out. You got Pete Varney in here. And then the bottom of the lineup. I think you reward Henderson with the game-tying hit, a chance to steal a base. Let's steal a base with Henderson. He's safe on an 8. Ken Henderson. He steals second base. Runner in scoring position with 1 out. Conventional wisdom has an intentional walk and lefty-lefty Spencer Folkers. But here's the news, folks. Folkers isn't as good against lefties, and believe it or not, this is probably the only year of Jim Spencer's career he hits lefties better than righties. Very strange. Normally, it's the other way around. I think you keep dealing if you're Folkers and hope for better luck. I mean, you've got theoretically an out on the defense that could not catch the ball. So you're going to pitch to Varney with a runner at second and 1 out. Here's the pitch to Pete Varney. 1-7 is single 1, line out, and he lines out. And with 2 outs, it's Jim Spencer. I actually almost want to walk him here and deal with Bucky Dent. Let's look at the Spencer card, you'll see. Yeah, he hits lefties better than righties. And Folkers is better against righties. Runner at first doesn't mean a thing, so we're going to walk Spencer, and they'll deal with Bucky Dent here. We saw Bucky's card earlier. Chance to be a hero again. He tried to be a hero. He had a sac bunt there and a double there. First and second, 2 outs. Here's your pitch to Bucky Dent. 2-3 is a liner to second, and we got some bonus baseball in a thriller from Comiskey, folks. What a game. So right at the present, Folkers has pitched an inning and a third. Cott is gone after 9. Do I want to go LeGros here, or do I want to go Gossage? Normally, the home team goes straight to the closer. And they're going to do it again. And this is why he's on the team. So Gossage will just come on in the 10th inning. He's a relief 4. For better or worse. My goodness. Rich Gossage, 9-8 with a .184 ERA in 142 innings. What a weapon. Just don't trade him away, Chicago. Which is what they did. And, of course, we know what happened after that. So Rich Gossage will come on in the 10th inning. You know, Bobby Darwin's a nice player, but he's also given up hits defensively as a 3 right fielder, even though he's a lot better than Glenn Adams. We have to get a left-handed bat of Glenn Adams in the game somewhere. So it might as well be... Oh, boy. We obviously don't want to take Oliva out with his left-handed bat. So here it is. It'll be Adams will bat for Darwin in the 10th. To lead off the 10th inning. So here's pinch hitter and new right fielder Glenn Adams. Here's the pitch. 3-8 is a K. Now you got Tony Oliva. 2-9, lines to second. And with 2 outs, it's Soderholm. 3-7, you walked him. Now you got Bobby Valentine. Can't take him out because you're running out of players. The only guy on the bench is Phil Roof. He'd like to bat. Possibly for Winiger. But let's see what Valentine can do here. 2-7 pops to short. All right, bottom of the 10th. 3rd inning of relief for Folkers. Or do you go to Bill Campbell? I think you gotta push your bullpen as much as you can. You're gonna need Campbell to close out the win in what is an elimination game. So I'm gonna lean on Folkers yet again. He will face Aurelio Rodriguez in his 3rd inning of relief. 57's a K. Back up top, and it's Hairston. Now, you could take him out now. They will. And they'll go Alan Bannister. You have righty-righty, but again, the second righty, Johnson's better against righties, and Folkers is good against them. Let's take a look at Alan Bannister. He's pretty balanced, really. Slightly better against lefties. A .275 average in a full season in 1977. Here's your pitch to Alan Bannister. 68 off Folkers is a walk. He's a great base runner, not a base stealer. He's a 17. Now you got Lamar Johnson with a runner at first and 1 out. Here's the pitch. 3-4 is a 5-4-3 double play. That's going to leave a mark. I'm starting to consider, do we need to leave Lamar Johnson in the outfield for the 11th inning at this point, late in the game? Yeah, we will actually. He'll stay in left field. We'll just put Bannister in right field. We do have Coluccio. Actually, no, I am going to take Lamar Johnson out. I doubt this game is practically going to get over soon. Coluccio is going to come in defensively as we go to the 11th inning. So now the White Sox are fully protected defensively. They have Bannister in left, Coluccio in right. It's the best they have as Gossage goes into his 2nd inning of relief. Here in the 11th inning, leading off a left-handed bat, Butch Winiger. Here's the pitch. 3-6, flies to right. Now new number 9 hitter, Roy Smalley. Opportunistically, 3-7 is a K, coming in for the right-hander Maxwell due to injury concerns. Now back up top to Carew, who has reached two times today. 67 is a K for Gossage. 2 innings of relief, a walk, as always done. Now Folkers is in his 4th inning of relief, and I think that's going to be it. You have lefty, righty, lefty, righty. It's not a good situation for Tekulve, who is vulnerable to lefties. You could go Garvin Orta. Ideally, you'd like to keep rolling with Folkers, but he's already gone. is 2 1/3. Or do you just go Bill Campbell and, you know, he's a relief 3 and we're already in the 11th inning. I think we'll just go Bill Campbell. 11th inning, yeah, Bill Campbell will pitch the 11th, 12th, 13th, if it goes that far. Bill Campbell will just come into the game now, trying to keep the game going, not a save situation. He's 8-7 with a 2.63 ERA in 120 innings in 1974, trying to match Gossage. But Gossage has already used up 2 innings, so Campbell will practically be in the game slightly longer if it goes deeper. But Bill Campbell will come on in the 11th inning, and he'll face George Orta leading off. Here's the pitch. 3-5 Orta singles. C. Steeler. 0-arm catcher, we'll just leave him there for Dick Allen to hit away here. Here's the pitch to Dick Allen. 1-7 a year ago, that would have won the game. It's a strikeout. Now Ken Anderson, who's had a heck of a game. He had an RBI, he had a single in the first, and he had an RBI single and stolen base in the 9th. Here's the pitch to Henderson. 3-10 flies to right. And with 2 outs, it's Pete Varney. The only player on the bench is Brian Downing, who's better against lefties. Here's the pitch to Varney. 33, he grounds to short. That's an inning for Campbell. We go to the 12th. Gossage's 3rd inning of reliefs, and in a good note, there's a day off yesterday. So Gossage can go his 4 innings, but he won't be available for a game 6 if there is a game 6. So he'll deal with Larry Heisel leading off. 68, you struck him out. Lyman Bostock, another lefty. 46 and he connects. Double 1-5 is a 2-base hit for Bostock. That's a big moment. And now you got Adams. You got the lefty here for Gossage? This could be trouble. I don't think you do the intentional walk thing. If you get Adams out, you might intentionally walk Oliva. But I think with 2 of them back to back, you got to pitch to, dare we say, Glenn Adams. The dangerous Glenn Adams. But heck, you're Rich Gossage. Let's take a look at this Adams card. My goodness, Twins. So Adams was still a giant in 75, hitting 300 with this card, but he'd also hit 330 for the Twins a little bit later in 77. He's got the runner at second with 1 out, and Gossage is going to give him 100 miles an hour and see what he can do with it. Here's the pitch to Glenn Adams. 47's a single to right field off the Gossage card. Both hits coming off the Gossage card. Bostock's going to try and run off of the Coluccio arm. Is it -1 or 2? It's a -2 arm Coluccio, but Bostock's going to run. And he scores on an 8, and the Twins have a lead in the 12th. Adams at first with 1 out, and it's Tony Oliva. 59, second X. Oh, it's Orta. Orta's a 4-20 at second base. It's a ground ball C. The runner moves up for Eric Soderholm. Here's the pitch. 67's a strikeout. So 3 innings complete for Gossage. We go to the bottom of the 12th inning. The Twins are leading 5-4. And it'll be Bill Campbell versus Spencer, Dent, and A-Rod. Leading off, it's Jim Spencer. We saw his card earlier. 46 off of Campbell is double 1-9. It's a base hit for Jim Spencer. Dent could hit and run here. He's a C stealer. Got a 0-arm catcher. It's an 11 shot if you have to steal. Hit and run practically moves up and increases his batting average. Could Brian Downing pinch hit for A-Rod after that? Boy. And move Alan Bannister to third base. Ouch. Scary. Interesting. One step at a time. How about a Bucky? You're down. It's a 12th inning. Let's do a hit and run with Bucky Dent here. With a runner at first and no one out. Here's the hit and run chance way up here. Oh, and it's a disaster. It's the 12. If Spencer was an A or a B, that's a single. but it is a line out and takes him off the base for a double play. What a disaster that was. 4-3 would have been a fly ball to Larry Heisel. Tough break. My goodness. Could have been 2 men on, nobody out. Instead, it's a double play. And now you got A-Rod with 2 outs and nobody on. 66 is a fly ball to left field. And that's the ball game. What a wild one this is. The Twins finally win this thing in 12 innings, beating Gossage. The White Sox challenged the Twins. They let Heisel hit off of Cott. They let Adams hit off of Gossage. And they delivered. You got to give the Twins credit. They can hit. And the White Sox had their moments. They had some great chances to win this series. 4-1. They could not get it done. And the White Sox are still, I guess, they're up 3-2 in this series. They still need one more win. And they'll go to Minnesota for games 6 and 7 if necessary. So we'll have the box score to this affair and the remaining part of the series after the break. So stay tuned. All right, folks, here's the box score of the game you just saw. The Twins winning in 12 innings, 5-4. What a wild game. All sorts of twists and turns in this one. Great relief work for Bill Campbell. 2 innings, just 2 hits, a strikeout. Gossage only gave up 2 hits. It's just they came back-to-back to lefties off his cards. Bad break, bad luck. 2 hits, a run, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and 3 innings of relief. Cott battled throughout this game, put 13 men on base, only gave up 4 runs. The White Sox put 22 men on base. The Twins put 16 men on base. But the White Sox had a guy thrown out in the 2nd inning. They had a guy thrown out in the 6th inning. There was, I think, A-Rod, if not mistaken, missed a single 1-of-17 chance in one of these. Was it there he missed that single 1-of-17 shot? I can't remember what it was. White Sox left the bases loaded in the 8th inning when they didn't be aggressive on the bases. Just a wild, fun, long game between 2 teams fighting tooth and nail for everything. So after this, we go back to Minnesota for a game 6. It's Bart Johnson, who has struggled all year, versus Andy Hassler, who pitched a gem first time around. In this game, well, the White Sox load the bases in the 1st inning, do not score. Twins get a couple base runners, don't score. In the 2nd inning, though, Jim Spencer hits a home run. It's 1-0. 4th inning, back-to-back doubles by Bucky Dent and Bob Coluccio on their own cards makes it even more odd. 2-0. Bottom of the 4th inning, this is the only inning that Bart Johnson would have any trouble at all. 3 singles leads to a run. That's most of the scoring in this game. White Sox add a run in the 7th inning on a 2-out double by Brian Downing off the Hassler card. Also, Coluccio, a very good base runner, gets thrown out attempting to score, which means running the bases, the White Sox are 0 for 3 of the last 3 attempts trying to score a runner. Not to mention a botched hit and run in the previous game. So they get some bad breaks with the strategy. But Bart Johnson delivers a gem, reminiscent of the stretch run a year ago. White Sox don't win the World Series without quality pitching by Bart Johnson. And after getting blown out in Game 1, he responds nicely today. He scatters 8 singles, or 7 singles, a triple in the 9th, gets stranded with a 2-run lead. Gets a complete game with Rich Gossage not available and Bill Campbell not available because of the lengthy game number 5. For the Twins, newcomer Kent Tekulve bails out Andy Hassler in the 7th inning, gets 7 in a row. So that's something to watch for the Twins, with having Tekulve for a couple years before they trade him to the Pirates. 3-1 White Sox victory. They win the series 4-2. So we can take a little dive into the stats now. So the White Sox are 7-3. They're hitting .296 with a .362 earned run average. Bart Johnson was pretty bad up until that great start to right his season. I mean, he's now his 20 in the third innings has given up 16 runs. Not good at all. 12 are earned, but he cut his ERA in half. It's down to about 6 now from 10. Gossage, 0-1 with 3 saves, just the 1 run allowed in 7 2/3 innings. We got George Orta pacing the offense with 4 homers and 12 RBIs. Dick Allen's 10 for 38. He's normally a slow starter, picks it up when they get towards the playoffs. Overall, nice contributions by the new guys. Twins, a disappointing 4-7. They've been going deep into their series, but just not getting clutch enough play. It looks much better getting that extra inning win in Game 5. Otherwise, they'd be 3-7. So they're 4-7, still hanging in there. 2.63 average. We expected a better offense than that. 4.09 ERA. Not sure what to expect there. Campbell got knocked around in the first series of the year against the Tigers. This offense, you've got Phil Rube with 3 homers, but 2 of those have been solo shots. Carew is just kind of ordinary out of the blocks. He's 16 for 46. Well, that's a little bit better than ordinary, I suppose. 348. Give the guy a break. It's 40 points below his card, but still, 348 is 348. Soderholm's had a nice start, 16 for 44. But, and again, another look at the standing. Not much has changed since we just had the team split a couple games. So here we are. Waiting to see what the Royals do. Hang on one second. Oh, we got the... Hang on one second. Got to look at this standings here. Yeah, the Twins... when White Sox beat the Twins 4-2. So the White Sox are 7-3. Alright, yeah, and Kansas City did beat Seattle 3-2 in interdivisional play in this round. So they are indeed 6-2. Milwaukee has interdivisional league game to play. So those are the correct standings. Let's look again at that. I had played interdivisional games involving the last place teams a year ago, and Kansas City beat Seattle in that. So these are the most updated standings. The Royals and the White Sox are tied for first, though the White Sox have had a much more difficult schedule, playing division-winning Ohio and the Twins, and the Royals played cellar dwellers Cleveland and Seattle. Brewers still have to play an interleague battle against the National League, and they play they play Houston. The Brewers will play Houston. The White Sox in the next round will start their interleague play, and they play the Dodgers. Dodgers and the White Sox will be one to watch, as the Dodgers are off to a 7-0 start. Break up, the world champion White Sox. They win the series 4-2. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.